Stephen, a friend of ours, loved basketball, and he was good at it. As a teenager, he won awards, dominated the leagues in which he participated, and had some college coaches paying attention to him. When he joined the high school varsity team, however, his coach almost never let him play. Stephen gave his best effort in every practice, followed the rules, outplayed his teammates, and worked constantly to improve. But no matter what he did, his coach would not give him any more playing time. Eventually, Stephen and his parents found out that all of the players struggled with the coach, even the kids who started the games. Apparently, this coach demoralized his teams every year. He had some of the most talented players in the state, and yet his teams would lose early in the state tournament, and his players would say such things as, "I cannot wait for the season to end so I can start enjoying basketball again." The coach hardly ever spoke to the players, and when he did, he was usually angry, bordering on abusive. Stephen was a quiet kid and was a little intimidated by the idea of confronting his coach. In his senior year, however, it became clear that Stephen would probably go through his entire high school experience without ever having a chance to have any significant playing time on a team where he was unquestionably the best player in his position. Stephen's parents could tell how much this hurt him, so they offered to talk to the coach for him. Stephen did not want his parents to talk to the coach, but he eventually agreed to talk to the coach himself. His parents coached him on how to speak effectively in hopes of improving the relationship with his coach, as well as improving the situation for everyone involved. The next day, Stephen asked his coach if he could talk to him. The coach looked unhappy and asked him what he wanted. Stephen said that he would like to earn more playing time and asked the coach if there was anything he could do to improve his skills to make that happen. The coach swore under his breath and walked away. Stephen realized that the coach had no reason for not letting him play more. But the next day the coach put Stephen on the third string, where he was unlikely to ever get any playing time. Stephen could not stop thinking about how poorly his coach treated him. One night he sat in his bedroom crying. Before going to sleep, he prayed. When he did, he felt an impulse. Even though his coach was not a good coach, he was a good man, and he needed to forgive him. When Stephen felt this impulse, he realized that he had grown to hate his coach. Given that he valued love and forgiveness, this meant that he was failing to live his values. Many of us might be surprised or offended by the claim that we are failing to live our values if we had been treated as Stephen was. After all, if a young person feels hate toward an adult in a powerful position who treats him in ways that are nearly abusive, that hate seems justified. This, however, is the point. Even in a case such as this, where Stephen has done nothing wrong to the coach, he must justify his feelings of hate because they are not consistent with his values. In fact, the research on cognitive dissonance and the confirming evidence bias suggests that most of us would do exactly that. Engage in self-justification. After all, that is what most of the other players on the team were doing. In contrast, Stephen's impulse helped him to see that even though his justifications were accurate, they did not help him, his team, or his coach. He therefore decided to become internally directed by forgiving his coach. Stephen looked for ways in which his coach was a good man in spite of being a bad coach. He saw how the coach helped other students in the high school through counseling and administration. He complimented his coach for what he saw, and gradually he felt better about him. He began to get excited about playing basketball again. He practiced hard because he loved playing the game. He quit trying to impress the coach or anyone else. Practice became fun, and Stephen was lifted by his experience. Stephen's decision to become internally directed did more than lift himself. It also turned him into a leader and lifted others. He made the decision to forgive his coach as his basketball team was winding down its regular season. At this point, his team was following the same pattern it had in its previous years under this coach. Even though the team had won 11 of its first 12 games, frustration took over and the team only won 2 of its last 8 games. Players went through the motions, waiting for the season to end. But this year, something different happened. One of the assistant coaches called a players-only meeting. He asked if any of the players wanted to express his feelings. The room was quiet. Then, to the surprise of everyone, including himself, Stephen stood up. He talked about the potential of the team and what they could do in the state tournament.